How's it going, my fellow history scholars? Welcome back to the podcast where we talk about the unanswered questions of history and unravel the mystery in the many questions we ask about our past. Today, I will be doing a bonus episode on Independence Day. As most of you know, it is 4th of July, so I figured I'd do a little snippet here on what it's all about. And I'm going to be reading an article from PBS.org to begin our episode today, and then at the end, I have a special guest star, Ryan Kessler, who's on right now. Ryan, you can say hi if you want.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Awesome. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
And if anybody else is interested in joining, the link for the show tonight is on Facebook. So you can go on our page and you can find it there, as well as some of my social media platforms. I posted it down there. So hop on that. If you're still awake, feel free to join us tonight. This should be a good show. But I'm going to begin our article, and this is, again, from PBS.org, and it's A History of America's Independence Day. Taxation without representation was the battle cry in America's 13 colonies, which were forced to pay taxes to England's King George III, despite having no representation in the British Parliament. As dissatisfaction grew, British troops were sent in to quell the early movement towards rebellion. Repeated attempts by the colonists to resolve the crisis without military conflict proved fruitless. So, on July 11th, 1776, the colony's Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia and formed a committee whose express purpose was a drafting of the document that would formally sever their ties with Great Britain. The committee included Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Roger Sherman, and Robert R. Livingston. Jefferson, who was considered the strongest and most eloquent writer, crafted the original draft document as seen above. A total of 86 changes were made to his draft, and the Continental Congress officially adopted the final version on July 4th, 1776. So it was actually written, and they gathered together at the Second Continental Congress and started formulating this document well before the actual date on July 4th, 1776. And what many people don't know is they weren't actually officially free from Great Britain until quite a bit later. So the document was basically a break of from Great Britain, but they were technically not free as we know it until much later. On July 8th, 1776, the first public readings of the Declaration were held in Philadelphia's Independence Square to the ringing of bells and band music. 1 year later, on July 4th, 1777, Philadelphia marked Independence Day by adjourning Congress and celebrating with bonfires, bells, and fireworks. The custom eventually spread to other towns, both large and small, where the day was marked with processions, oratory, picnics, contests, games, military displays, and fireworks. Observations throughout the nation became even more common at the end of the War of 1812 with Great Britain. In June of 1826, Thomas Jefferson sent a letter to Roger C. Whiteman declining an invitation to come to Washington, D.C. to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. It was the last letter that Jefferson, who was gravely ill, ever wrote. In it, Jefferson says of the document, "May it be to the world what I believe it will be, the signal of arousing men to burst the chains, and to assume the blessings and security of self-government. That form, which we have substituted, restores the free right to the unbounded exercise of reason and freedom of opinion. All eyes are open or opening to the rights of man for ourselves. Let the annual return of this day forever refresh our recollections of these rights and an undiminished devotion to them." Thomas Jefferson on June 24th, 1826 in Monticello, which is his home. So, if you guys didn't know, Thomas Jefferson was the actual writer of the Declaration of Independence, the document on which July 4th, 1776 is celebrated for. Congress established Independence Day as a holiday officially in 1870, and in 1938, Congress reaffirmed it as a paid holiday for federal employees. Today, communities across the nation mark this major midsummer holiday with parades, firework displays, picnics, and performances of the Star-Spangled Banner, the famous song by John Philip Sousa. So that is my short presentation. This was very last minute, so I hope you guys enjoyed that little piece there. But yeah, I'm going to have Thomas on now too. Or Ryan, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
That's your brother. So I was like, wait a second, that's not right. I'm gonna have Ryan on though. Ryan, how do you celebrate Independence Day, and what are you doing right now? Tell them about your military experience.
So, the way I celebrate Independence Day, um, it varies depending on the group I'm with, really. But generally, I like to light off fireworks and hang out with my family. Um, this year's a little different though. Ever since I enlisted, this is my first 4th of July away from my family. But I was lucky enough to spend it with a new family that I made here in the Marine Corps. So,
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Ryan and his brother Thomas actually joined the Marines not that long ago, correct? And you guys are well on your journey to fighting for the freedom that we're able to celebrate today. So my question was
absolutely.
actually, yeah, for sure. My question actually was, do they do anything military-wise while you're in training for 4th of July?
Not that I know of. They give us what's called the 96, which is just a military term for a 4-day weekend. It's the longest paid federal holiday that you can get in the government. It's a 96, or at least in the military. It's 4 days. It's a 4-day paid vacation, really. So we
Oh,
have Friday
nice.
off next week. We got Liberty Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we got one more day tomorrow. So it's nice, not having to do anything during those days.
Yeah, I'm sure. So do you stay on base during those 4 days, or are you able to leave, or what do you end up doing?
So you're allowed to leave base, but if you do something bad or you mess up, you break the rules, or you end up getting NJP, you will be on restriction. And if you're on restriction, which is one of the various forms of punishment they can use, it's like jail pretty much. They keep you in the barracks. You're only allowed to go to the chow hall in the barracks room for up to 45 days. They can cut your pay too.
Oh, damn.
But you're not allowed to go off base at all. And when you're on restriction, you're not allowed to leave the barracks. I haven't met anybody who's been on restriction yet. But there are people occasionally that might get too drunk, or they stay out past curfew, and then that'll give you we call it a ninja punch. Or it's called an NGP, which stands for non-judicial punishment. It's like court martial is like a court proceeding, but an NJP is a more informal punishment at the commanding officer's discretion.
I see. So you got to really screw up though to be able to get that, I'm sure, because you said you
do
haven't
have to really
met
screw
anybody.
up, but it's a lot easier than what people think. The punishment's pretty severe. Like you could lose your rank, you could get dropped down to a private, even if you are like a lance corporal or a corporal. Like if you're an E3 or E4, which takes a few years to get to, and they'll drop you down. They'll be like, yeah, you're caught drinking. Well, we're just gonna make you a private. You start over again.
Oh, damn.
So it's an incentive not to mess up.
Yeah, right. So what made you want to join?
Honestly, the reason I wanted to join was I joined on a gut feeling, really. For my whole life, I wanted to be in the military, but every few months, every few years, I would consider different branches, and I would be like, okay, I'm absolutely going to join the Air Force. I'm going to be airman, and then I'd stick with that for a while. I'd only be in middle school or high school, and then a few months later, I'd do more research on like the Navy, and I'd be like, man, that would be so cool. I'm gonna join the Navy. I'm gonna be on a ship. That's gonna be so cool. And more than a few times, I considered the Marine Corps because this is the era of it being the hardest of the branches, which I believe is true. And that just really stood out to me. And I walked into the recruiter's office, and I just had a feeling. I was like, yeah, this is it. And I stuck with it. And I do feel like this was it. This was the right choice for me.
Yeah, for sure. So how does that impact your 4th of July now that you're serving? Because I'm sure it's probably different.
It does feel.
Or is it the
does feel
same?
different. It does feel different having enlisted and serving now. I'm still really young in my career, so I still have a lot of things to experience. I have a 5-year contract right now, and I'm about five months in, so I
Yeah, you
still
got
got a
a
long way to go.
good road ahead of you for sure.
But even this first Fourth of July in service, it feels different. It feels like you're part of this big club, and the emotions just flow differently with everybody else. There's a lot. I feel like the patriotism is just so much thicker here. It's like adding flour to the soup broth.
Yeah. Well, you're going through so much more. Like when you're a civilian, you're like, oh, it's Independence Day, whatever. It's cool. I just get to do whatever I want. But then you're actually out there in the field and marching and having to do all the military life kind of stuff. I'm sure it gives you a
And
different view.
in a really shallow way, or just at the surface, it's like it's another. Some people might say it's another Independence Day, but when you really start to think about it and let your mind run through, you start to think, wow, this racket I'm laying in right now, the barracks I'm staying in, somebody's been through here, and they've been through so much stuff
Mm-hmm.
during their service. They've probably seen combat. They've probably taken somebody's life or saved somebody's life in combat,
Yeah,
or
that's crazy to think about.
all these experiences. You're in a spot where these people have gone through, and it's just a really special feeling. I feel very lucky to be in the position that I'm in.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what's your job going to be?
My job, I'm going to be an aircraft engine mechanic.
Yeah, I know you told me. I just wanted to have the listeners know. So I'm like,
Yeah, that's all right.
don't worry, Ryan. I know. I remember you telling me. Well, that's
No,
awesome.
you're good. You're good, man. No,
So obviously,
so
I know we were in aviation class uh, back in high school together. So is that something you want to end up following as a path, aviation?
absolutely. So for anyone out there who's listening, I was pursuing a path to become a private pilot before I enlisted, but I wasn't able to get my medical certification in time, and I was trying to hold down a job at Taco Bell in my town, tried to make some money and um, keep up with my classes, and I ended up putting a halt to the flight classes, and then COVID came around, so then it was even harder. And I was like, okay, now I have to focus on online schooling, which is kind of new.
Yeah.
And from there, I enlisted. I still had lost my love for aviation though. I came into my recruiter's office with a goal to get an aviation job that I was really lucky to get, and I have now. So my love for aviation hasn't wavered at all, and I fully expect to become a private pilot when I leave the service.
No.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh. I was walking the
Sorry, I'm
dog.
being asked if I'm live streaming right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm still on. You should hop on. You should watch. Yeah, I know you had such a huge passion for aviation because I definitely saw it when we were in class together. So yeah, that's awesome that you're able to actually do that with the military. So
I need to call Bruce. I still haven't called him yet.
yeah, Bruce would probably be pretty proud.
Mm-hmm. I told him I was joining the Marines, and or first I was like, I went into class. I said, "Hey Bruce, big news! I'm enlisting in the military." He says, "Oh wow, Air Force, I'm guessing." And I kind of scratched the back of my head, and I was like, "Well, you see, that's the thing. I'm joining the Marine Corps." And he just kind of stopped there. He's like, "Marine Corps? You join the Marine Corps? You want to be a pilot though, right?" I was like, "That'd be nice, but I'm enlisting. I'm going officer, so I'm probably going to be a mechanic."
Mm.
And he was like, "You know what the Marines do, right?" No. They go out and they fight, and he wasn't upset. You know, that's not him. He was very supportive, but he was trying to tell me that the Air Force was better.
Well, when you think so, as far as flying.
I'll tell you what, the Air Force
that
is nicer. The Air Force is a lot nicer, but they're not better. They're not better than the Marine Corps, I'll tell you that. That's just because I'm biased.
Yeah, right. I'd say the same thing about the Army, so it's like whatever branch you're a part of.
Yeah. Dude, when you're in, there's always going to be feuds. All the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, I know. Because I do drill weekends still, so I have a little bit of that.
You're ROTC, right? Or are you already enlisted?
No, I'm doing National Guard, so I do drill weekends. But yes, I will be doing ROTC. I did ROTC for a semester, and then I'm gonna join back up when I go back down there. But I have basic in the fall, so
I think if you have ROTC for 2 years, you should be able to get an E2 right out of boot camp. Like you should be a rank up.
Yeah, I haven't done it for 2 years yet, though. That's the only thing. I did it for a semester, and then I had that semester of college right when all the online stuff was going on, and I'm like, this really sucks. I just want to go back home.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're paying that much money for college, like, why would you suffer through like having to sit in a dorm room all the time and just doing online classes? I'd rather have the full experience and wait.
I remember
that's what I'm like.
One of the last
I'll join.
I had with Bruce. One of our last aviation classes that I attended. We had a guest speaker who was from North Dakota University, I believe, or maybe it was Duke. I don't remember. It was one of the big aviation colleges. But he started classes, except they were all online, and he was discussing with us what it was like for him to do all these big college courses online, and how he kept doing his classes because that's just what he loved to do. Is that he wanted to go to college and study that topic. So.
It was different. It was different for sure. I don't like the online stuff, so I'm like, if I'm gonna go to college, I want the full experience. So in the meantime, I'm gonna join up in the service and then get through basic, and then that's gonna help me pay for college anyways. So might as well just wait until everything's back in person. So AIT for me, which is my job training, should get done hopefully in January. So I probably won't be able to that spring semester getting back, but I'll be able to return in the summer.
I have a buddy who was in my platoon during basic training, and he is reservist. So once he's done with his MOS school, he's going back home, and he'll do the weekend drills and then the 2 to 3 weeks during the summer.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. But basically,
he's Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, all of boot camp. He was always talking about how he was kind of in a rush to get through training because he wanted to be done with his training in time to enroll into his college courses online. I think he's going to A&M right now online. So
yeah, that's cool. I know a girl
who recently of his page. She just got accepted into it.
Nice.
Or maybe he got accepted into a class. Either way, he's on the right track right now. So I'm pretty happy for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Reserves is definitely different, I'm sure, than active. But, if you want to go to college, it's a good way to be able to do both of those.
Yeah. Reserves is a good option if you have like another job back home that you want to keep, or if you have other responsibilities like family.
Right.
Or if you're interested in continuing college. But I feel like one thing that a lot of people forget, any advice to anyone out there who's thinking about enlisting, you are enlisting to serve, and at any time you can get called up to serve.
Right.
A lot of people that I even met in boot camp, who were reserves, I'll admit. Not a lot of active duty people who thought this, but they thought that their units that they're going to go to don't deploy a lot, only to figure out that it's like, oh yeah, My unit's going to deploy like 2 out of 4 times during the year. So it's going to be like 6 months out of the year you're going to be deployed for 6 years.
Jeez.
So it's like, some people don't fully understand what they're getting themselves into. I feel like that it's easy for people to lose their spirit if they feel like they've been tricked, when in reality they just didn't do enough research, or maybe
Yeah,
they got lied to.
that's it,
which is
honestly.
even more unfortunate.
Right. Yeah, you don't realize. And then the thing with the National Guard too is we get deployed domestic, and if they need us, we can go international. So we have a little
Yeah,
bit of
you guys
both fronts.
got it harder. You got to do domestic stuff too.
But you know what? It's like, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to keep the freedom that we have, that we're getting to celebrate today? And then what did you join for? You should definitely think that through before you even consider signing any paperwork. What are you trying to join for?
One of the reasons why I joined, not just because it was a gut feeling. It was a gut feeling that this was the right option for me. But I joined because, I wanted to serve. And I know that sounds really cliche, and it's just the catch-all answer. But when you say I want to serve, it can mean a lot of things, and it does mean a lot of things.
Right.
Like you want to fight. You want to protect people in your country. You want to protect your family and your friends. You want to fight people that threaten your family and your friends and your nation too. And there's a sort of honor that comes with knowing that. There's absolutely an honor that comes from knowing that you're a part of this big club.
Yeah, for sure. I originally joined because I'm like, all right, I need a way to pay for college. But after I joined, I was like, oh, okay, this is what this is. And now I have a lot more respect for actually
it's
what
like
it means
boost.
to be
It's like a boost
a soldier.
again,
You're like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you're a civilian, you have no idea. It's like, okay, that's cool. I get to celebrate fireworks and hang out with friends. But when you're on the other side of that, when you're in the military, you're like, oh, so this is what it means to actually like defend your country, to fight along other people. It's like a totally different scenario.
So a lot of people in my platoon, just in the military, they do join for college money. That's okay. But when you start doing drill and everybody in your platoon hits something just right, like just perfectly, and then it's like, okay, that felt really good. Let's see if we can hit that again. And then you hit it again just right. Everybody does like marching manual perfectly. You switch from a left shoulder to right shoulder. It's just like you get chills down your spine.
I'm a part of this greater thing, something that's bigger than myself. But yeah, have any final comments before we end the show here? I know it was pretty short, but then I'm also going to put out, for the people that are watching, I'm going to put out a live message, so you can send your message in. If you weren't able to join us tonight, you can still send us in your message. Just tell us what 4th of July means to you, what Independence Day means to you, and basically what you do. But yeah, Ryan, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me. Sorry if I talked about myself, but just sharing what I got,
No, yeah, that's good. That's what I wanted. I love the different perspectives, and especially since you're in the service. So that's awesome. It's good to see you, man.
You're going to enjoy boot camp. Take it as you will. But
I'm looking forward to it. I'm also a little afraid, but you know what? I guess I'll conquer that when I get there.
Hey, man.
So.
When you're having tough times, just remember it won't last forever.
Right.
It's going to feel so much better on the other side.
Yeah, I know. And with that, thank you guys again, everybody, for joining and being able to watch tonight. And we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.